Hello and welcome to this afternoon taste challenge. I have the blackout blinds because it's so hot outside, so it's a little dark. But I'm gonna turn the lamp on. The lamps. It says 91, but I think it's hotter than that. It's probably more like mid 90s. Sometimes AccuWeather is not always so accurate. Um, Here is Black Velvet, imported Black Velvet, blended Canadian whiskey. Introduced in 1951. It says it right there on the bottle. It's bottled in Kentucky by Heaven Hill, who brand from, and the distillery from some, I can't remember the company that they bought it from. But they bought it from a big outfit. It wasn't some little independent company. I can't get it to focus. These whiskey companies have a tendency to trade products. There we go. There we go. Blended at birth, aged 3 years in oak under the supervision of the Canadian government. All whiskey produced there is under the supervision of the government. There's two lions holding up a crown for King Charles III, King of Canada, the United Kingdom, Jamaica, Australia, etc. Okay. They say they do it a little different. They distill it, and then they blend it, and then they age it, and then they bottle it. So they say most Canadian whiskeys, they age each whiskey separately, the rye whiskey, the corn whiskey, the malt whiskey, the wheat perhaps, and then after they age the separate ones, they blend them and then bottle it. But they say it's better to let them all age together, coordinate the flavors, and then they bottle it. So it's just their way of doing it. Now here's Tennessee Crown Club, introduced in 2013. It's aged 7 years in ex-bourbon barrels, and then it's finished in sherry casks, ex-sherry casks. It's 85% corn, 15% rye. It's imported by a Texas company, but it's not listed. It's a wooden cap with a neoprene stopper, but it's not listed on the Select Club website, so that's why I didn't put a website link. Thank you. I will keep going. All right, so there it is. I paid $7.99 for this. True story. It's usually about $25, but a local store, well, on the other side of the river in Jefferson Parish, had it for $7.99. Amazing. Saw somebody had patties for $9.99 today, but I have that already, but that's like half price. Okay, so Black Velvet, I thought I had a great deal on it because I got it for $8.99 at Mathern's, and I was all excited. Man, what a deal. It's plastic. I know they call it a travel bottle. It fits in a suitcase. A week later, they dropped it to $7.99. Then it didn't last. It didn't last too long. But I said, thought I had the deal, I could have saved $1, but I didn't know they were going to drop it $1. Okay, normally that runs around $10 or $11. Still not expensive. Black Velvet Original. That's the same label, but that's what the glass bottle looks like. A lot nicer. A remarkably smooth, expertly crafted 3-year with hints of caramel, vanilla, coconut, and rye spice. And notice all that. There's a toasted caramel, and then there's the reserve, the Newton Year Reserve, aged 10 years, which I have seen around, but I have an 8-year, but I haven't tried this one yet. There's the apple, the peach. So like most of these companies, they got all the flavoring versions. So they've been making it since 1951, 74 years. It was originally known as Black Label. The original distiller Jack Napier sampled it, and he changed the name to reflect its signature velvet taste smoothness. And he might have also been worried that Carling Black Label could take action against him. I don't know if they could, though, but blended at birth and matured in casks. Rye, barley, and corn. Mash is crafted and aged in bourbon barrels for up. These barrel-aged high wines are mixed with fresh base whiskey spirit and returned to bourbon barrels to age for at least 3 more years. Where they mature into rich, smooth whiskey. So most of these Canadian companies use ex-bourbon barrels, okay? They're not required to, they do it. Now, so far, happened to my lamp. So far in this series, I've gotten it right twice. And I've gotten it wrong once against Crown Royal of all products. And then I got it tied twice. So 2 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties. Where I could not tell them apart, and I wasn't going to attempt to because they tasted the same. All right. These are both light amber, clear, cereal grain, a little vanilla. Does it taste the typical Canadian whiskey? It does, which is what I just described. Cereal grain, corn, rye, barley. Same thing over here. Maybe a little smokiness, though, maybe from bourbon barrel, but not smoky like, Johnny Walker Double Black, anything like that. Just a little touch of it. So I don't know right now. I'm going to have to see if I can pick up that sherry cask flavor. Vanilla, sugar, sweet corn, oak. Some kind of confectioner's sugar. This one does keep having that smoke and a little, I think it's the sherry, tastes a little more aged. It is aged 7 years opposed to 3. So I think they're both pretty smooth. But I think that's the Tennessee Crown Club because it tastes a little strange. And I think the product is a little bit strange. Being aged in ex-bourbon barrels and then finished in ex-sherry casks and having only 2 grains, corn and rye, 85% corn, 15% rye, no malted barley whiskey, no wheat whiskey. It's their option, what they wanted to do. Can't say it tastes, maybe it's a little bit better, yeah. Now, but the regular retail price, like I say, $25 versus around 11. I think I would rather save the $14. Honestly, I'll just settle with Black Velvet. You say, well, you just said it wasn't as good. I know, but I saved $14. You see. in that case, I'd be willing to compromise. So, but check out their website, look at it, examine it. They go into that detailed process, intricate process that they claim they've always used. I guess it'd be interesting to take a distillery tour there, Black Velvet Distillery in Canada, but I don't know if they give tours. I doubt it. They might, though, if you contacted them. One time I wanted to go to Taylor Wine because I was going to be close to that town, and I called them on the phone. The lady answered. I said, "Do you give tours?" "No, it's a production-only facility." "Oh, well, I tried." It's all about all you can do. Sometimes they'll give you a tour anyway. I've been to breweries where they say, "We don't give tours," but the guy was like, "Well, I'll show you around anyway." At Trim Tab, that happened. They might have gone out of business, but they still showing that they're producing stuff. But it was a one room, one was what you call a micro distillery, or, yeah, micro brewery, not a distillery, a micro brewery. Unfortunately, I think something happened, but it was it was nice to see it. But compared to like Anheuser-Busch, which is like dozens of rooms and they're huge and huge warehouses, just such a big scale. All right, I got it right. Okay, so that puts me at 3-1-2. 3 wins, 1 loss, 2 ties. That's not so bad. Do you typically have to pay for tours? Yeah, usually. But like I say, at Trim Tab, they didn't. But I mean, it was just looking around. St. Arnold, yes, you got to pay, but it's not too expensive. And then that's in Houston, Texas. Carbach in Houston, Texas, you got to pay a little bit, but it isn't much. Anheuser-Busch is a little expensive, but not too bad. There's different levels of the tour. You can pay for the expensive tour, but it's real detailed. It goes into great detail. Miller used to be free, but I think they charge now. Sazerac still gives free tours. Buffalo Trace, free tour. Free tour. Free samples. Free parking. The Sazerac House in New Orleans, same thing. Free tour, free samples. Well, there's no parking lot, so you got to figure that out on your own. But it just depends. Red Stripe gives tours. I don't know if they charge. Bacardi charge a ton of money. I would have taken the tour, but they were saying the next tour was in 2 hours. I wasn't sitting around Bacardi for 2 hours. I just walked around on the sidewalk, and you could kind of look inside. You could see the building. They're open air. There's no air conditioning. They're just open. You can see inside. It looked like a oil refinery to me. In a way, the Bacardi distillery is a refinery. They're refining sugarcane into rum. And you can see that huge area called fermentation tanks. I couldn't see the barrel houses though, but actually they don't really take you on a tour. They drive you around in that little trolley, and they show you the buildings, and then they take you in a room and tell you about Bacardi and then give you samples. You don't even get to go inside the distillery. So no, I wouldn't pay $40 for that. Although I was going to, but I lucked out because the next tour was in 2 hours, so I didn't pay. But I did have to take the ferry to that other town, Catania. It's huge place. I don't know if they give tours in the Bahamas at that Commonwealth brewery. They might. Well, anyway, yeah, Bacardi tour would be cool if you actually got to go in the distillery. Hello, Grandfather, says Ann Bart. Grandfather, okay. Hello to you. I would give Black Velvet a A-. I used to not say that. I used to not like it, but I kind of warmed up to it. To me, it seemed like they improved it, but it's probably in my mind. Tennessee Crown Club, I give it a solid A. About a 9.3 or 9.4. like that smokiness, which is very minimal, but you can detect it. I like that sherry cask finish. Yeah, it's a winner, all right. But then, what's the distribution? I found it. I have never seen it before or since. I probably never will. But I do know where to find the Texas Crown Club. But it's probably the same product in different bottles, so I'm not going to buy it. But I'm going to examine that. You see, next time I see Texas Crown Club, I'm going to look, because if it doesn't have the detailed description of the rye and the corn and the aging and all, then I'll realize it is a different product. So that would make me want to buy it. All right. So what's coming up next in Canadian blended whiskey? This adventure. I was trying to go in a chronological order. I had gotten up to 1971, and then I forgot about Black Velvet, and I had to go in the cabinet and get it. So I had to go back 20 years to 1951. But now we're going to go up 21 years to 1972, catching up with the chronological order. I've got Canadian Limited, been on the market since 1972 from Fleischmann Distilling. Of course, they're owned by Sazerac now, so but it was an independent company called Fleischmann Distilling, and they made yeast also, but they still have Fleischmann's yeast, but it's a food company that makes that now. I've got Gibson's Finest Rare, which is rare for Louisiana for sure. People claim it's been around since 1972, but they can never give any definitive proof. They just say it, 1972. Oh, where did you get that information? Oh, a guy wrote a blog. Well, that doesn't mean that's true. Okay, but anyway, I'll play along, 1972, but I don't know. And then for 75, we have James Fox, 1975. And then 1984, we have Canadian Hunter. And 1987, we have McAdams. In 1992, we have Canadian Lake, and then continuing on up until the present day. All right, so hopefully I get some wins under my belt. 3 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties. Not where I want to be, but I will see. So cheers to you, Tennessee Crown Club, doing a good job, but tricking me up a little bit. All right, I'll see y'all at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Central. We have Regular Beer Wednesday. Get ready for Regular Beer Wednesday. Any regular beer. And I think we all know what that is. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.